was living a lie. In the darkness I was scared of the light. With no direction I was running away. Step by side, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride.
So, we're getting back into the circle. I don't even know where to begin, actually, as to what happened in that courtroom that day. So, the first day of trial, I had told you that I had sued you in federal court on behalf of this family, Sandra Grazzini-Rucki, her kids, her whole family, for multi-millions, for destroying liberties with their property and their children. And I asked you to recuse yourself, and you didn't recuse yourself. You just said, no, I'm not recusing myself. And you said, we're proceeding with the trial, the custody trial.
Judge Judy, what did you hear Michelle say?
Okay, I heard you say that you wanted me to move away from the case, and I chose to stay and to make orders that you were not happy with, and that you're going to sue me in federal court.
Michelle, is that what you said?
No, I had already sued you. I sued you in federal court. I was asking you to remove yourself from the case because you had been sued on behalf of the client in the custody case. You had already been sued.
Judge Judy, what did you hear Michelle say at that time?
I hear you saying you're asking me to move away from your case, and that you sued me already.
Michelle, is that it?
That's it.
Is there more?
Yes, so on the first day, my client, Sandra, testified to perfect motherhood, basically. And you had already, in one day, removed her from her home, or $400,000 home, we'll call it, and ordered that she or the father could have no contact with the schools, no contact with the children, no contact, or they would be arrested. And you did that within 2 hours of the case, and that's why you were sued in federal court for violating this family's civil rights.
Judge Judy, what did you hear Michelle say that time?
I heard you say that I violated this family's property and rights, and that I ordered them to get out of their house, and I ordered them to not be anywhere near the kids' school.
Michelle, was that it?
That was most of it. You ordered it in 2 hours, and you also ordered that some stranger would come in and be the guardian of their kids.
Judge, what did you hear her say that time?
That I ordered those things very quickly, and that I ordered a total stranger to come in their home and take over their parenting of their children.
Michelle, was that it?
Sort of. I might have said stranger. So they're living in this house for 17 years, 14 years, something like that, with her 5 kids. And you removed her from her house, and you ordered, it wasn't a stranger, it was like a sister-in-law to come in, move into her house, and take care of her kids. You ordered her out of the house and the sister-in-law to move in.
Judge, what did you hear this time?
I heard that I ordered the mother moving out of her own house after 17 years, away from her 5 children, and having a family member of hers take care of her children instead of her.
Michelle, was that it?
Sort of. It was 14 years. But it's kind of besides when I might have said 17, I meant 14. But you had, it was a sister, her sister-in-law come in and move into her house, and she couldn't take any of her property, nothing except the airline bag that wasn't owned by her at that point.
Judge, what did you hear this time?
I heard that there's details that are different than what I heard. So I heard you say 17 and then you say 14 years that she lived in her house and that her sister-in-law is not taking care of her kids and that she could not take care or she could not take any of her belongings out of her house except for some bag.
Michelle, was that it?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So that's...
Is there anything more?
I just want to say that's why you were sued in federal court for violating that family's rights to their children and to their property. And it was a class action where you were sued along with many, many does, many, many people that are in the court system because ultimately what you did with others was deprive Sandra and her former husband of the constitutional rights to their children and their property.
What did you hear her say this time, Judge?
I heard you say that you think I violated the rights of this family and I did not catch her name.
Michelle.
Sandra and her former husband, and that you believe I violated their property rights and their family rights.
Is that it, Michelle?
That's it. You did violate their property rights and their rights to their children with others by doing this in 2 hours. In a family court. There was no abuse, there was no nothing.
What did you hear her say that time?
I heard you repeat the same statement that you believe I did violate it, property and family rights of this family in 2 hours.
Is that it, Michelle?
That's pretty much it. It was 2 hours with no notice. So, she just got a call from her former attorney that said, you gotta leave in 2 hours, or you're gonna be arrested, you gotta leave your kids there, somebody else is moving in, and you can't have any contact at their school. So she didn't even see the order until later, but was told about this order with no notice.
Okay, Judge, what did you hear this time?
I heard that you're saying that this happened very quickly and surprisingly to the family, where the mom was not able to say bye to the children or come to the school either. And she had to move out very quickly from her home.
Michelle, is that it?
Not exactly. She did get to say bye. She had to, but she could not tell them what was going on by your order. And they were all at separate schools. All 5 kids were in different separate schools, and it was the first week of school.
What did you hear this time?
I heard it was the first day of school, and there's 5 different children, and the mom did get to say bye to her children.
Is that it?
She didn't, not exactly. She didn't get to say goodbye. She couldn't tell them what was going on, so she could drop them off at their schools. But she didn't get to say, she said goodbye, but she wasn't able by your order to tell them what was going on.
What did you hear this time?
What I hear you say is that she was prohibited from telling the children the details of what she was seeing.
Right.
Michelle, is that it?
That's it. And also all of the kids ran away that day to the police department.
What did you hear this time?
That all the children run away to the police department.
Is that it?
That's it.
Is there more?
Well, I want to go into, and why did you arrest me?
What did you hear Michelle say this time?
That's when Michelle is the attorney for the family.
Yes.
I am.
Why did I arrest you? I arrested you because you.
Tom,
Oh,
stopping her.
no, what did you just hear her say?
Oh, I think she
Nah,
asked
yeah.
a question.
Well,
Right.
she did, but the question and this is why, just a timeout teaching moment, which we don't want to interrupt. It seems repetitious sometimes and whatever, but this way, especially in the onset, this is where a lot of all the stuff comes out, and sometimes it takes a little bit, but the dialogue going back and forth, this is where the people feel fully heard and fully understand. So then the judge would be able to ask questions back, but Michelle's still asking questions, so sometimes it can get very tedious, but you go through it and then she will be fully understood and heard, and that's how the healing process starts, because she fully gets to talk about even, it seems there's stuff omitted originally, so it's hard to repeat back, but there's stories coming in, but then we get to the whole foundation of what the issue is. So, okay, we'll go back into it now. What did you hear Michelle say that time?
Michelle, you want to know why I arrested you?
Is that it?
That's it.
Is there more?
Yes, there's more. So I brought the film here, and there's other things I want to say that you should be aware of, Your Honor. Did you know previously there wasn't family court? Did you know at one point there was not, family court did not exist until the 70s? Did you know that?
What did you hear Michelle say that time? It was more question, but what did you hear Michelle say that time?
I heard you say that you're wondering if I know that before family court, there was no family court in the 70s, and that you have a film that you want to show.
Is that it?
Close. And teaching moment, they'll do questions and they'll start to answer it. And we, as facilitators, we say, you'll get your turn. See, and I'm even, are you done yet? And sometimes they'll say they're done and we'll go to the other side. And what did you hear him say? I heard her say, she's done. Is that it? Well, no, I'm not completely done. So you have to keep facilitating all along. And it's been called like watching grass grow. I mean, it's facilitators. It's really slow and you want to jump in and say, didn't you hear her say she just, you did an order that took the kids. I mean, what's taking so long? But it's also the scenic route to communication. And this is what you're facilitating. You're not interrupting by saying, Michelle, could you just move on? Okay, this is taking too long. I mean, this is probably painful for some of you to just say, I came here and I already knew that the kids were taken away by a wrongful court order, so why are we doing this? But this is between the two of them, right? And I want to be heard by this judge. So, done with teaching moment. Yeah, did you know that there's always been family law, but family court just is statutory, and it only developed in the 70s. So we did litigate families before the mid-60s, 70s. Did you know that, Your Honor?
What did you hear Michelle say that time?
I heard you say that before the 70s there was family law and litigation, but it was different.
That's not it. There was no family court. There was court, but there was no family court. Family court did not exist before the 70s.
What did you hear Michelle say that time?
I heard you say that there was court before the 70s, but no family court before the 70s.
Was that it?
Yes.
Is there more?
And it used to be that if you wanted a divorce or a termination of marriage, you'd just go to the legislature to get a termination of marriage through the legislature.
What did you hear this time?
That if you wanted a divorce at that time before the 70s, you'd have to go to legislature and you could get a divorce.
Is that it, Michelle?
That's it.
Is there more?
Well, I want to get to the film. I have proof of what you did to me in the courtroom. I got it captured, and they only gave me some of the video, but I have video proof that you had me do a trial in handcuffs with no shoes, no glasses, no paperwork, no pen, and you had me continue doing this trial.
What did you hear Michelle say this time?
I heard you say that you have proof that I wronged you in court and that I ordered you handcuffed and to proceed with your trial without shoes, papers, and handcuffed.
Is that it?
That's pretty much it. You ordered me to keep going with the trial even though the mom had left because I was arrested, and I was still in handcuffs and I was in handcuffs and you still just said proceed with the trial. That was your order.
And what did you hear this time?
I heard you say that the mom had left already and I ordered you to proceed with your trial in handcuffs.
Is that it?
That's it. Okay, so I have it on film here. You got off the bench because you were allowing me to go find an exhibit. But that wasn't really why you got off the bench. You knew those 3 deputies were going to come and arrest me.
What did you hear this time?
I heard you say that I got off my bench and you were thinking that I was allowing you to go get an exhibit. However, why I got off the bench was that 3 deputies were going to arrest you.
Right.
Is that it?
That's it. So you can see me here with all of my materials and my client. Do you see all those boxes? Do you see all those? You're up there on the bench, Judge Judy, and there's boxes and I'm sitting there with my client.
What did you hear her say this time?
I heard you say that in this video, I am sitting in the back, and you're sitting on the left side, right there with all your boxes and your papers.
Is that it?
That's it. And also, this was an 8-hour day for me. This is just a little piece of it.
What did you hear this time?
I heard you say that this was an 8-hour day for you, and this is just a small part of it.
And we had already done the first day of trial the day before. So this was the father's turn to get on the stand.
What did you hear this time?
I heard you say that yesterday was already a full day of trial. This was the second day where the father was going to have his proceedings.
Is that it?
That's it. So you can see me cross-examining the guardian.
What did you hear this time?
I heard you say that in the video you were cross-examining the guardian.
That's it. And I'm sitting there with my client in the boxes.
And I heard you say you're sitting there with your client in the box.
And you're still on the bench.
And I heard you say that I'm still on the bench.
And I don't think this had sound. This was at the point in time you told me to, you were going to allow me to get an exhibit.
You said that I was allowing you to get an exhibit when you back.
So you can see here, you're getting off the bench.
You said I'm getting off the bench right now in the video.
And you can see the sheriffs coming over to talk to me
And you're saying that I can see the sheriffs coming down to you
in the video.
in the video.
You got off the bench.
And you said I got off the bench.
And you can see that I'm silent. I'm not making a ruckus or anything like that.
And you're saying that you're silent in the video and not making a ruckus.
And can you see them taking me away?
And you're saying that I can see you in the video being taken away.
And do you see my client watching me get arrested?
And you're saying that I can see the client, your client, seeing you being arrested.
And can you see my client taking her files because her attorney got arrested?
And you're saying that I should be able to see the video right now that your client is leaving, taking her boxes because you're getting arrested.
Okay. And this was about 10:30 in the morning
You said this is around 10:30 in the morning
on the second day of trial.
on the second day of trial.
And I did ask you to recuse yourself the second day as well.
And you're saying you asked me to recuse myself the second day of trial.
And now you can see the other attorney, the guardian, everybody's waiting in the courtroom.
And you said that I can see the video that the guardian and other people are waiting in the trial.
And my client is left.
And you said that the client left.
And I told you this was a custody trial and the children had run away.
And you said that this is a custody trial and the kids have run away.
So it was a child custody trial about missing children.
So you're saying it was a child custody trial with missing children.
Question?
What did you mean when you, as the attorney, asked the judge to recluse herself by the court after the first day?
Yeah, I asked the judge because the judge had been sued in federal court. It was a class action for all families, not just this one, to recuse himself from the case because he was one of the defendants.
What does recuse mean?
Oh, recuse
Question.
means get off the case. You can't be on the case anymore.
Attorneys can do that, act.
Yes, you're prejudiced, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Because he was part of a lawsuit, so he shouldn't have been hearing the case, so he was asked to recuse himself. And not only on the first day, but on the second day. And the second day, they knew that the kids who were the part of the case had run away. So there's missing kids even, and so there's multi-layers to why this trial shouldn't have gone on.
Right.
Okay.
That's why in my book I call it the world's last custody trial. And you'll see it going on with me in handcuffs next.
Wow.
So, many minutes go by, Your Honor.
You're saying that many minutes went by.
And you can see here that you're still not on the bench, Your Honor.
And you're saying that we can all see that I'm not in the bench yet.
And you can see that my client is gone with all her boxes.
You're saying that your client is gone with all her boxes.
And you can see them wheeling me in.
And you're saying that I didn't see you being wheeled in.
And can you see my handcuffs?
And you're asking whether I can see your handcuffs.
Because they took my glasses, all of my jewelry, and they put a belt around my waist. So my handcuffs were attached to the belt around my waist.
You're saying that they took your jewelry and they put a belt on your body and handcuffed you to it.
Right. And now you can see we're waiting for you to get back on the bench.
And you said that you're in the video, you're waiting for me to come back to the bench.
And you can also see that I'm not being disruptive.
And you're saying that I can see that you're not being disruptive.
And you can also see that I wasn't disruptive during this whole process.
And you're saying that I can see that you have not been disruptive this whole process.
But I did ask you to recuse yourself, and I did sue you in federal court on behalf of all families.
And you said that you did ask me to recuse myself, and you did sue me in federal court on behalf of many families.
And I asked you the day before the first trial, and I asked you right before this trial as well.
And you're saying that you asked me twice, the day of the first trial and the day of the second trial.
And why did you assign 2 deputies to me?
And you're wondering why I assigned 2 deputies to you.
And here's where you announced all rise.
And you said that this is where I announced for all to rise.
Because you were coming back in the courtroom.
You said I'm coming back in the courtroom.
And I couldn't rise because I was in a wheelchair.
And you're saying that you could not rise because you were sitting in a wheelchair.
And I thought my belt was strapped to the wheelchair.
And you're saying you think that your belt was strapped to the wheelchair.
And I had no access to my hands.
And you're saying you don't have access to your hands in it.
And you can also see that I don't have a pen or a paper or any of my materials.
And you're saying you didn't have any of your materials, pen or pencil available?
Quick question. Why did they take her out the courtroom and handcuff her?
Okay.
And put her in the dang wheelchair?
I'll ask her that and then.
Okay.
Why did they take me out of the courtroom? And I'm wondering why they took me out of the courtroom.
You're saying that you're wondering why I took you out of the courtroom, why you were taken out of the courtroom.
And it was because I took a picture in court. And court wasn't even in session. And as you know, you can play foosball in court while court isn't in session.
You're saying you're thinking you got in trouble because you took a picture, not during the session, court session. And people during non-court sessions can even play football.
Right. You were, so here you are. And you remember you said to me, we're proceeding with this trial no matter what?
You're saying that, wondering if I remember, that I said, we're proceeding with this trial no matter what.
And you mentioned some rule that said that you could still proceed with the trial without the mother.
And you're saying that I said that I can proceed with trial without the mother.
And that I was going to be, the mother was going to be in default if I didn't stay.
And you're saying that I said the mother was going to be in default if you did not stay.
And do you remember you put the guardian back on the stand that I was cross-examining when you gave me a break to take an exhibit?
And you're asking me if I remember that when you were getting your exhibit, the guardian was being questioned, and now the guardian in the video is back being questioned.
Right. And you can see that I'm trying my best to continue my cross-examination without any paperwork, including the exhibit you pretended to allow me to go get and vet off the bench.
And you're saying that if I can see that you're trying to continue with the questioning of the guardian without your materials or your exhibit that I pretended to let you have when I got off the bench.
We usually schedule circles for up to 3 hours, and sometimes they go 5. There's another process you'll learn, and it's in your materials about pre-circles. This was an actual simulated circle, so this was real for me. It's real for the person. And as you can see, And I did that purposely, asked a question, because that almost always happens. Why do you want a divorce? You know, or why did you, you know, why did you cheat on me, or whatever it is, the issue. Why did you spend all that money? It's usually money or something like that. And invariably, they start to answer, well, I didn't take the money, or I didn't cheat on you, or I cheated on you because, and as a facilitator, you stop them because you want to, the person has to be heard first. And until I'm done, which could take, we did one, you know, the other day, the wife, it was the husband that wanted to start, and he took his time. And they took up the whole 3 hours, and then it was her turn. She got a turn for the last half hour, and they, you know, it was great. I mean, for us, we don't say, this is great, you know, but they hadn't talked for 2 months, and they were really getting to the heart of everything. It's almost like, you know, you just see it happening as a facilitator. You can't make it happen. So if this was really, really like, oh my God, can't you just show the video? That's our regular life, you know. I should have this all edited for you here, and this is what happened, and this is what happened. I was subjected to torture.
I've seen the process in the prison. Then I went to DOC and started training them.
Who are we when we're at our best?
It's their process and it takes time. That's why this process works.